That is quintuplet rock, back from the break. Hippopotamus, 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 hippopotamus. There it is. So you've got, say, normal semiquavers, boom. Something. And what happens is that, you know, the first person I heard doing that, really, was, of course, there's Zappa again, because I keep coming back to him, but the first person who really explained it was an old Modern Drummer magazine, and one of the features was with a drummer by the name of Andy Newmark, who used to play with Brian Ferry, and all of this sort of business, you know, sort of not the usual place to find quintuplet rock. But he did a whole article about it, and it really piqued my attention. This is many, many years ago, and that was the first time. And one of the other people that I used to hear this kind of thing with is, you know, Barry Barlow from Jethro Tull. All that, I just love that guy. I try to mention him as much as I can because he's one of the unsung heroes of 70s prog rock. You know, his name should be there right after Bonham, because John Bonham from Led Zeppelin called him the best drummer England had produced in the day. So that's mighty fine praise indeed. And one of the things is there's always that wall, you know, when am I ever going to need that? Just keep it simple, stupid, and all that sort of stuff. And then, bang, the first fill-ins on David Bowie's beloved Black Star album, quintuplets, quintuplet rolls down the drums. All that sort of stuff. So you can play quintuplets, all of this sort of business, within 4/4 and all this sort of stuff. But what this brings me to now, with times and all that sort of business, is the term polymeter, okay? What a polymeter is, it's a little bit like the polyrhythm's cousin. When you play, I might just take the snares off for this a little bit, but when you play a polyrhythm, it's two beats played against each other, the most common being 3 against 2. So if you're going to play 3 against 2, common denominator is 6, 3 times 2 is 6, and you play the 2 every 3 and the 3 every 2. And that's what happens, and you end up getting... So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Lots of marvellous things to be had by that, and then you can do many things. You can do a whole range of numbers against 2, a whole range of numbers against 3, against 4, whatever you want to do. That's a polyrhythm. But I am talking about a polymeter. What a polymeter is one where you're playing in one time signature and somebody else is playing in another. Okay. Now this is the realm of Tool. You've got different people. I'm going to stop talking about Frank Zappa for a little bit, but there's things like Jethro Tull. I'll go down to that again with Barry Barlow on drums and stuff like that. Some brilliant stuff there. But I'd like to, at this stage, bring up Stuart Copeland from the Police. Back in the day, there was once again an interview with Stuart Copeland, and the interviewer asked, "How do you handle odd time signatures?" And what he actually said could be sort of thought of as a bit edgy. He said, "I don't worry about odd time signatures." And you could sort of tell, well, why not? You know, that kind of thing. And Stuart Copeland came back with the Little Chestnut because if you're playing in an odd time, you can play a basic rock beat and it'll come back every second bar. And he's dead right, sort of thing. And one of the things that you might want to go off and listen to, because here I am in the domain of, I started this show off with 27/8. Crazy, huh? And all that. And then I've talked about European rhythms in 5s and 7s and all of this sort of stuff. But now I'm just going to talk about Synchronicity, the title track of arguably the Police's biggest album, the one with Every Breath You Take on it. So if I'm just going to play a rock beat, okay, what I'll do is in 6/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's fine, you know, that kind of thing. When you're first hearing the Synchronicity album, or that track I should say, it just feels like it's a straight ahead rock beat. And it is. It's a rock song. It just happens to be in 6/4 instead of 4/4. So nothing really changes. But if you count to 5, if you're playing in 5/4, but then you want to keep the beat solid to make it accessible, you know, that kind of thing, what will happen is the kind of thing that happens, what have we got there? We've got Markson's Chicken, Frank Zappa's song, which is on the Them or Us album from 1984. There's a section in there where Chad Wackerman is playing straight, but the band is playing in an odd time. So if I just said 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1. Notice I was just playing a basic rock beat. And when I opened the hi-hat, that was the resolution point, okay? Every 2 bars. I could do it with 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. You see? So what happens then is you're playing polymetrically, okay? One of the things I sometimes do is splash hats. It's like heel-toe, right? Heel-toe, heel-toe. Now I'm going to go across to John Bonham and his lick of the century, is what I call it. Back in the 70s, if you couldn't do this, you were nothing. And what happens is, we all know what it is. It's right, left foot, okay? Or it could be foot, right, left, or any inversion. Depends on whether you want to emulate Ian Pace from Deep Purple or John Henry Bonham or whomever. And what it basically is the triplet roll. What so many people leave out is the hi-hat, okay, playing with the right hand. And what I do is a little bit of a splash hat thing with it, so... 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now what I'm going to do now is emulate 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get it? Got it? Good. Anyway, that's what happens there, you see? And what happens then is I'm emulating. Did I say the word emulating? I suppose that's not the right term, but what I'm trying to put in is a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Against a 2, okay, here on the hi-hat. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And away you go, you see. Lots of fun to be had there. Anyway, more of this after the break, hey? All right.